What's going on, guys? It's Ashartz here. I am on the Hypixel server doing something a little bit different today. So yesterday I ran about a half hour's worth of Halloween Simulator, and I was trying to talk through different college things that I thought would be interesting, and it was an absolute mess. So, change of gears here. I've taken that recording and I'm now doing a voiceover after the fact. So I'm currently recording this on Halloween, and I'm going to try to get it up later tonight before it's too late to be considered Halloween. So, today I thought I would talk about things you should know before signing up for college classes. It's been the big thing I've been dealing with lately, and something I've been talking to some of my newer college friends, or like friends that are new to the college life, about, and I think they might be generically helpful. So, if you're in college or going into college, check them out. Could be good to know. If you don't care about college, you're not going, whatever, hey, might be kind of fun to listen to. Or at least watch me completely fail at this minigame. Throw it on as a podcast. Throw it on as some background video. It's whatever. Alright, let's get into it. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was scheduling. How to schedule your classes. When should you figure out your schedule? So, one thing I had to learn very quickly is an 8 a.m. class in high school is nothing like an 8 a.m. class in college. And part of that has to do with the material. It's more difficult in college. I am not naturally a morning person. And so trying to jump on to an early morning class never worked out for me. So, with that information, my suggestion is, if you can, avoid an 8 a.m., 9 a.m. class. If you can, maybe push the start of your classes till 10, which is what I've ended up doing, and it's been very helpful for most of my classes. I notice, at least at the community college I'm at, there are a lot of STEM classes. I'm in a very STEM-heavy major with early morning classes, which sucks because I am not a morning person. So, but now that I've gone through like Calc 1, statistics, and the beginning engineering physics course, the rest of them are a little bit later. So instead of doing a 9 a.m. or a 9 a.m. class, I end up doing a 10 or an 11 a.m. class. And it's been much easier for me. I'm able to focus more, be more attentive, because I'm more awake. I'm ready to do stuff now. It's later in the day. So I would say, unless you are naturally a morning person, avoid those 8 a.m. or even 9 a.m. start classes. Plus, the later your classes start, the less traffic you have to deal with. I'm still living at home, and I drive 30 to 35 minutes up to campus every day. That does not go over well in morning traffic. But when my start classes aren't until 10 o'clock, I don't have to leave till 9:15. So it's just that much easier. There's less traffic to deal with, you can give yourself more time, yeah. So that is my first tip for you. So, the next thing I wanted to talk about is, how do you pick your professor? There's a lot of professors, whether full-time or adjunct professors, working on a college campus. How do you know who to take what class with? My first thing for this would be asking someone like a friend or someone with a similar personality to you who has to take the same courses. That's a little easier when you're in your Gen Ed classes because there's more people taking those courses. And there's typically more professors to choose from as well. So ask a friend and go, hey, have you had to take Composition 1? And they'll go, oh yeah, I took that last semester with so-and-so. And you go, awesome. How was it? Would you recommend them? And they'll give you a pretty straightforward yes or no. So I would say that's probably your best bet, is to ask a friend. If you don't have a friend that's taken that course, or if you're in one of those Gen Ed classes where nobody talks to each other and it would just be awkward, I would ask your professor. Go, hey, especially if it's a continuation course. Like if you're in Calculus 1 and you need to go take Calculus 2, go, hey, do you know of any good professors that, any professors you would recommend for me to take Calc 2 with? And most professors are pretty straightforward with that, especially if it's a professor that you have an established relation with, like you've gone to their office hours, they know you decently, you ask for help, those kind of things, which always ask for help in your college courses. If something's not working, or if you just need some sort of clarification, go to your professor, or whomever's teaching the class. That's a bit easier at a community college like where I am versus a full-time university, but still, ask. If the professor gets to the point to where they know your name, they're more likely to help you with everything, anything. But you have to give them a reason to know your name, and preferably a good one. But, so if you can ask them, hey, is there a professor you would recommend for this next course? Most of the time, they're going to say yes. They've heard good things about this professor or that professor. Or go, actually, I'm really close with this professor, and we teach things similarly. So that's more information for you to know taking your next course. My third thing, if you can't ask a friend or a professor, there is a website. There's a website called ratemyprofessor.com. It's a pretty good website. All you have to do is type in the name of your college and the name of the professor, and it'll pop up student ratings. There are a couple things you need to keep in mind when doing this, though, because not every professor has been rated, and not every professor gets a full range of ratings. So, when you go to look up your professor or the professor you're looking at, I would say avoid the one-star reviews, because if they're getting a one-star review, there's a good chance that that has something to do with the student more so than the professor. So I would say stick to the 2, 3, and 4-star reviews. And if there's a bunch of 5-star reviews, then hey, you've hit the jackpot. But if most professors I've seen average about a 3, and most of those 3s are actually pretty good. So, I would say look up the professor you're looking at. If they're at like a 3-2, check out some of those 3-star reviews. They're going to be the most critical. Another thing to keep in mind when looking at reviews is the year, because we are now post-pandemic, that you should check the year. If this was a professor that might excel in in-person teaching, but just didn't do well in online teaching, then that's something to note. If their ratings of like 1-star or 2-star only happen in like 2020, 2021, then that's a good sign that they don't do well on online classes, especially if it's balanced out with like 4-star reviews in 2018, 2019, or 2022, 2023. So those are some things to keep in mind. I can tell you from experience, my engineering physics professor, uh, his name was Professor Martinez. I haven't said what college or what current college I'm at, and I probably won't, but Martinez is a pretty generic name that I don't think it matters too much. Professor Martinez was great. He was very sarcastic, very funny, but at the same time, he was still very helpful. I want to say his ratings were low because the students didn't like sarcasm over the pandemic. His reviews before pandemic were great. His reviews during dipped, and the ones right after jumped back up. And I think that has to do with how sarcasm comes across in like Zoom classes. But that's one point when you could tell the ratings are a bit askew. But yeah, so ratemyprofessor.com is a good source to look at and to check out. But you got to keep in mind, statistically, if they're a good professor, they're not likely to get good scores, because people going to ratemyprofessor.com to leave a review have a higher chance of leaving a review because they are upset about something. And people tend to exaggerate quite a bit, especially in the negative direction. So keep that in mind as you go through there looking at professors. The last thing I wanted to talk about was when should you have your classes picked out. Now, I'm not going to lean too far into when you should have classes completed by, because that's a very case-by-case kind of thing. So, what I will say is your school will tell you when they've released the schedule. Look at that schedule within those first couple of days when it comes out. Look through at the classes you know you need to take next semester and see what professors are available. From there, you typically have a couple weeks to a month before they release enrollment. So during that time frame, figure out what professors will work best for you. Get recommendations from my first couple of tips and get those written down. That way, when the day enrollment opens, you get it done. Because if you don't get it done right when it opens, there's a strong likelihood you're not going to get into the classes with the professors you want. That's a general experience that a lot of students had to suffer through. I've been pretty lucky that the turnaround on the classes I've had to enroll in the waitlist on were able to spin around before the semester started, so I was able to take the classes I wanted to take with the professors I wanted. But figure out who you want to take a class with early. Keep that in mind. First or second night that they open, get it done, get it taken care of. That way it's done, you don't have to think about it, and you're in no worry over what professor you're going to be stuck with. So, those are my tips, the things I've learned. If you want to hear more about this subject, or if you have any other questions, please leave them in the comment below. If you want to hear me ramble on more in the future about college life, please drop a like and subscribe. Maybe. I mean, I only came in 3rd place, but like, that's still top 3. I think that's worthy of a subscribe. I'll leave that up to you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch back with you next time.